And what's going on, fellow co-creators? We are back again for another episode of Tales of Dordania. I believe this is episode 4 now, so here we rock and roll. Where we left off last time, the boys had a bit of a crazy time with one of the female vampires from House Malice there. Thank you so much for doing that. Malice is her name, and she's a kind of crazy vampiric lady who was running in with 4 undead orcs. And about halfway through the battle, Abaddon came out from Terrag, and apparently they knew each other. And they were walking over to Hootie and actually walked through a kind of puff of black smoke to supposedly somewhere else through the labyrinth. As the battle then ensued, we had some crazy moments from just about everybody, and ended up actually knocking out finally the 4 undead orcs. Behemoth beheaded a couple of them, did some crazy cool things I remember, and I remember Hootie doing some cool wild stuff as well too, doing some dive bomb actions and also knocking out our poor monk friend as well, Kai.
Just a
It
bonus.
was just a bonus, 1 dart's all it took. That's just how powerful Hootie is, you know what I mean? Give me some. And with that, after the battle, they decided to take a short rest. It's funny, this actually took place from about 6 to 8 a.m., so it's still morning of this day. So we open up at around 8 a.m. You guys have just decided to take a short rest. I believe everybody was fed, rations were already deployed, and everybody should be ready to rock and roll. So what would you guys like to do? If I remember correctly, I think Hootie and Kieran were maybe taking first watch.
As these two took first watch, luckily there wasn't anything trying to kill them at the moment. So they took the opportunity to check out the area and the undead orcs. And Hootie actually found a pretty big satchel on one of the undead orc bodies. And unfortunately, as he went to check it out, he rolled a...
Oh, that's a natural one.
Go to grab this bag. Luckily for you, there's only rocks in it.
Luckily.
This weird orc had a weird rock fetish and apparently was just maintaining some of the weird volcanic ash on their stones. They're about the size of your fist, and there's about 6 of them.
And they're in a bag?
They're in a bag.
Can I take the whole thing?
Take the whole thing. Bag of 6 volcanic rocks.
Bag of rocks.
As the two continued taking first watch during their short rest, they didn't find too many other things of note from investigating the area or the undead orc bodies. So they decided then to wake up Kai and Behemoth and allow them to take a turn while they would take a quick snooze and heal up, rest up, get some spell slots and different abilities back.
Behemoth, is there anything you would like to do?
First thing I want to do is check out this storage unit corner over here that I spied earlier.
Run on over there.
We're all dead.
As you run over into the kind of corner where you previously saw Kieran crack open one of the crates and kind of find some different grain, you walk up and you see another crate, kind of a barrel, and it looks like kind of a bottle sitting on top of the barrel.
I want to inspect the bottle and the crate.
Okay, make an investigation check on both.
So a bottle first.
Okay.
We're looking at 7.
Okay. And what's about for the crate?
17.
As you look at this bottle, there's kind of a weird, very, very thick kind of substance in the bottom. Not much too, maybe like a ½ ounce. It's pretty empty. It looks like maybe it was wine or potentially a potion of some kind. You get a little intrigued and you crack open the crate underneath it, and you actually find 3 greater healing potions.
Sick. Oh, that's good.
Yes.
That was like, that's good.
I'd like to spend, like an hour reading my animal healing book.
Okay.
Animal handling.
Make a nature check as you do that, and then since you are going to be playing for Kai, is there anything you would like to do part-time Kai?
I think he just like to play his ocarina.
Okay. You just kind of sit down, kind of over against the rock, kind of over there, and you just kind of post up and just start kind of playing your ocarina a little bit. And it's not a crazy, good melody, but you start just kind of trying to find a couple notes and whatnot. You rolled a what?
Oh, no.
I got a nat 1.
Oh.
Okay, get it out now. On me.
What are you trying to do?
Read a book.
I was
Read a
just trying
book,
to
your
read my
nature
book.
book.
Well, you know,
As you crack open your book of animal handling, and you start, on the first sentence, your eyes start just drooping, and you realize, I am in no position right now to read mentally or anything like that. And you unfortunately close your book and just put it away.
that's fine. All right.
As you're kind of doing this, and as Kai is kind of doing his flute stuff, in another part of the labyrinth, to what is happening to Terrag / Abaddon with Malice. And as the gentlemen are kind of going through their watches, in another part of the labyrinth, we find Malice walking Abaddon into a very kind of ornate chamber. There's some different crates, a couple different barrels in one of the far corners of the room. It seems like there's almost a very, very intricate kind of design, almost kind of a rune or a symbol of some sort engraved in the actual floor itself. And it forms a ring. And as she kind of walks Abaddon into the center of the room, and they also see two very, very tall pillars, similar to the ones that you guys have been seeing kind of throughout the labyrinth, where they do have human skulls, it looks like, encased inside different parts of the pillar. But on these ones, you see two very ornate, looks like vampire skulls that are a little more narrow. You see the fangs kind of bearing on them, and they are kind of immersed right in the middle of the pillars itself. And it's kind of, right in front of a rock, and there's a small, maybe about 2 foot tall by 4 foot by 4 foot altar in between the pillars. And as Malice kind of walks Abaddon into this room, they're kind of strolling along, and she goes, "Here's where the ritual will be completed. Once we find the soul stone, we will be able to relieve you of your human counterpart, and Dracula will be able to take his place." Realize it, and Abaddon then speaks, and
"Yes, I've been looking forward to this moment for quite some time. That's why I originally headed to Alacoria, as we had previously discussed all that time ago. It is nice to finally be here. Have you located the soul stone of Dracula?" "No, the soul stone is yet to be found. However, my undead orcs have found one of the rune keys that we believe will open the door to Anubis's chambers, where Dracula is believed to have hid his soul stone. I will help you find this chamber. Once I do, I expect the ritual to be completed with haste. I want to shed this human flesh so I can go and destroy many things throughout this land. Yes, of course, as we have discussed and previously decided, as you talked with the other house members of Malice, you will be compensated greatly for offering this house to us with such haste. It is good that he is an elf too, because he should be able to withstand the ritualistic nature of reviving Dracula once we acquire the soul stone."
as all this is going on, Terrag is just
No need to shout.
you feel kind of enclosed. You feel like you're in a cell within your own body. And you're watching all this happen, and you're trying to kind of cry out, you're trying to just get Abaddon, anybody's attention, and you're not really feeling any response.
As Terrag learns of these sinister plans that House Malice there has in store to revive Dracula, we return back to the original party members as they have finally decided to go deeper into this dungeon and search for Terrag and as well as the soul stone that Dracula has hidden throughout this labyrinth. And as they venture deeper, they actually go to the left of the map as you guys are looking at right now. And they go into what seems to be the common quarters or a guard's kind of station area. And they find a pretty common, bed area as well as a storage room as well. And they were actually able to find a decent amount of gold, silver, some more health potions as well. A couple things to help them, aid them in their journey. And then they believe they heard some undead orcs. So they actually had a great idea that started with Hootie, and that was to tie some nooses at the entrance of the door, while everybody else got ready in attack position as they lured the undead orcs to this room so they could kind of get them cornered and pinned down and kind of catch them off guard and by surprise.
Go.
Yep.
And as you kind of hand in a potion, you say, okay, ready?
Yep. And then I'm like getting ready to strum.
And Hootie says, start playing.
Alright.
Roll for performance as you break out the loot.
Wait, are we having Kai do this too? Or
Is Kai helping with
Kai is
Ocarina?
helping.
You might as well. It's not green. I mean,
You kind of nudge Kai next to you and say, break with Ocarina, dude. Roll a performance check for Kai as well. Performance. Cha-cha-cha.
10.
10.
You guys start playing a very kind of nice melody that's kind of enchanting, actually. And honestly, Kieran and Hootie are a little impressed that not only is the flow coming together so well, but you guys are like, this is some good music. And they just keep playing. And they're playing for about a minute. And you're not hearing anything. You're
Okay.
not seeing anything either. What would you all like to do?
Far.
And as Behemoth emerges from this room, and Hootie's kind of like, what? He's kind of hesitant about this. Behemoth's strumming, and you walk out, Behemoth. You see one orc kind of standing in the middle of these pillars, just kind of like looking, trying to find, like, pinpoint, where is this like music coming from? Like,
we didn't realize that.
I'm really like confused. Like, I just don't know. And this other one is just kind of turned around, just kind of looking at this rock right now, and just kind of like checking the rock out as if it was kind of playing the music.
That works.
You should
And
see if
so
you can see my rock.
They kind of merge, and as you emerge, this one slowly starts to turn, realizing the music is a little bit louder. This orc kind of finishes his turn, and he sees you going back into this room. This one's still off in La La Land. He doesn't really quite know what's going on. And this one starts walking towards you, Behemoth. Everyone make a initiative check. Let's see what your initiative is.
Oh, I gotta move for Parker too, right? Oh,
Natural 20.
After this plan was set in motion, it took them a minute to intrigue the undead orcs enough to come and check out the quarters that they were all hiding in. And once they were able to finally get the undead orc's attention, they had him follow Behemoth back into the cell. And as they entered, Hootie was able to catch the foot of the first undead orc, completely unarm him, disarm him, threw him off balance, literally drug him into the room by his foot. Then Kieran had the great idea of showing the rest of you how our kind of little battle looked. So we're going to go ahead and zoom in and check that out.
You still have him with one hand with your rope, and you grab a dart, and as you go to throw it, it's a bad throw. And you realize as you release, like, ah, no! And you throw it right at Kieran holding the other rope.
Not
in
this
preparedness.
again.
How? There's no way! Now, roll
I don't
for
know.
damage.
That actually.
do not.
Roll for damage for the
higher
rope.
than an 8.
7.
Oh, damn, son. These darts are beast as fuck. I know, dude.
Beast
Your
in the
darts
wrong
are
direction.
honestly, like, not bad. Like, your darts actually do some stuff. Like, and as you throw this dart, Kieran kind of turns at the last second and sees. And the dart's just. And it hits you, I mean, shoulder right here. And you get pinned and thrown back against the rock, and your rope gets now tasseled and is no longer in a nice perfect symmetry, and you kind of get just bounced against those rocks, and you kind of
So traps.
come back down. Your trap's messed up, unfortunately.
The whole plan is messed up. We're so screwed right now.
And you
Luckily for Hootie, they weren't quite as screwed as they thought. And the battle raged on, and after a couple more misses from all the party members, Kai was actually able to keep the orc down on his back while the other undead orc drew near. And we also had Kieran do some stuff with a dagger. We had then Behemoth come out of nowhere, and he decided, time to stop playing. I'm over this, and this orc needs to die.
I've already been prepared, waiting for all this, watching it all happen. So I grab the dart that Hootie missed that's stuck in the barrel, and I rip it out of the barrel,
Okay.
and I kick the barrel off of this.
That'd take your bonus action.
That's
doing all
okay.
that. Okay, so you can do that. So you grab this dart and you kick this barrel, just kind of,
Right.
just
So-
side kick it.
So I've got the dart,
Okay.
barrel's out the way, and dart's just in hand. I'm gonna wing it at down orc.
You're throwing it at the down door?
Yeah.
Okay, make an attack roll. You are not proficient with the dart, so do not add your proficiency bonus.
Right. But what am I rolling for still?
Just strength.
Okay.
Just add your strength to the dart. Yeah.
Ooh, still 21.
Damn, son! You hit this boy. What is the damage on your dart?
1d4 plus 3.
Roll a d4. Is the plus 3 from a bonus for you?
I don't think so.
Cool. Then 1d4 plus 8.
Party doesn't have it for his darts.
One.
Darts.
Plus what?
3, so
that's
4.
4.
And as you do this, you grab this dart, you kind of flip it back in your hand. You said you do 4 damage?
Yeah.
Okay, how do you want to do this?
I mean, I'm winging it towards the jugular, right? I'm trying to finish this guy off.
Okay. As you grab this dart, you kind of just twirl it in your hand, and you just grab it, and you just, throw with all
Like,
of
maybe
your
you should
might.
give me your darts.
And
don't
you
seem to do so well with them.
feel a glimpse of your father, Colonel F. Sanders, kind of looking down on you almost, and like appreciation and so proud of his creation. And as you throw this dart, it goes not just into the jugular. You have literally, as far as you can tell, punched this dart all the way through his neck to where you can't even see the back end of the dart anymore, and it's somewhere in the concrete behind this dude's head. You've literally thrown this dart all the way through his neck, and he's just gone to rest. And he's literally just, his death throw has just settled, and he's just pooped his pants in that final death poop.
Groovy.
Then Hootie Owlicious, after seeing Behemoth's demonstration of great strength in combat, decided he was going to take on the second orc himself.
Talons.
Talons. Yeah, get it.
So that's 9 damage.
9 damage.
9.
Ouch.
I
Oh.
wish I could ask you how do you want to do this, but you're close.
Seems a school use.
As you go, you kind of just fly, kind of like half, kind of leap, swoop, do a little twirl, and you just kung fu, kick this dude out of the room, and he falls back about there. And you kicked him easily a good 15 feet out of the doorway.
Well, I got more movement.
Chase him.
I'm chasing him.
Do it.
And we're
Get him,
gonna go
Hootie.
for talons again.
Okay.
And him. And hit. Just shouting this.
Finish him.
15.
You hit.
9 damage.
Let's go.
Oh.
How do you want to do this?
Finish him.
I just go ham with my talons right on his face. Just real malicious. Like,
As-
eyes like anger.
After you've done this crazy kung fu kick, you are here and you're, finishing your kind of twirl. You plant your foot. Your wings are kind of in this motion across your body, and you just fan them out in like an X. And as you do, you leap, in the air a good 10 feet. And as you come down, your right foot is just in the crane stance, and it just crushes this dude's face. Literally, like Fruit Ninja, you just smush this freaking watermelon, just slice this up with these talons, and you just crush. Literally, it's like someone dropped an anvil on a cantaloupe or something like that, okay? And juices, undead oozes are just squirting
See,
out
don't
everywhere.
use the darts.
And you're still on your one foot, just like positioned like in the crane stance of just like fury. And you just let out a nice, ooh. And you and Malice heard this commotion kind of in the labyrinth from one of them playing music, and also you just kind of overhearing the far distant sounds of a battle, happening. And Malice has just informed you that all they have been able to locate is this rune key, and that's all they've been able to find throughout the labyrinth. And their best guess is that it goes to a key slot somewhere, which will then reveal Anukis's chamber, where the soul stone should potentially be. Now, they have not been able to find the keyhole for this rune key. Their best guess, and Abaddon just asked to be taken to the place where the rune key was found, And you guys just kind of teleported, kind of like you did over here, to this room, and you're kind of just emerged over on that back wall. And as you kind of have emerged over onto that back wall, you kind of walk in and you see two pillars right in front of you, kind of stacked in a line. And these pillars have the same vampiric skulls that you saw in the pillars in the ritualistic kind of chamber as well. There's just rock kind of right here on your right side, kind of along the entire wall. And this room's about 15 feet high. It's a little bit of a taller ceiling as well. And it's a pretty big chamber. This is a pretty big room. And she informs you that the key was actually found over here in this kind of column. And it was actually kind of dug out from that column, and that's where they found it. And the reason they were able to help locate it is because it had these vampiric symbols on it, which hail Dracula. That was kind of the two different symbols. So that's what their best guess was, why it was the rune key. So we got a hail Dracula rune key, and you just kind of emerge into this room with Malice. You're still kind of on the back burner, and you're kind of just looking around, and your soulless kind of, state, just kind of seeing everything.
As Abaddon learns of everything going on, and Terrag on the back burner sees all of this happening as well, the rest of the campaign party decides to venture further throughout the labyrinth after defeating the two undead orcs. And as they do, they unfortunately spring a couple traps. And luckily, they weren't too injured or too thrown off from their primary mission objective. And they continued to venture further. Hootie then got a little intrigued by one of the very, very far corridors at the very, very back of the hallway they are traveling down. And as he ran to go check out what it was, Behemoth, chasing after him, looks into the room where Malice and Terrag are, and for a quick second sees Abaddon searching for the key slot. And as he does, Abaddon threw a curse pretty much at Behemoth, knocking him to the ground, unconscious for a slight moment. He still had his health points, but he just threw him unconscious after seeing this gaze and locking eyes with Abaddon. At the same time, Hootie had made his way finally to the back of this chamber and corridor and started to feel a weird sensation.
Again, it's the voice in your head that tells you to check on Behemoth. Turn and you kind of continue down this hallway because the sensation you're feeling is too overcoming and too sensational to be able to stop. And you kind of turn the corner and walk into this room. First, again, you kind of see some crates, it looks like a chest, some barrels and stuff kind of stacked to your left in the corner. And you see two pillars, and you see a very intricate, detailed symbol carved out into the stone itself in a circle before them. And you see chains hanging from in between these two pillars that are kind of backed up against this rock. And as you see these things, you kind of just lose your balance and you fall down.
After dropping to the floor, Hootie then exchanged words with his father, and after so many harsh things were said, Hootie then tried to see what other goodies or things were lying about in this ritualistic chamber, and his eyes became fixed on a small chest in one of the corners. He had a very, very strong sense of a magical pulse within this chest. And as he was going to try to see if he could break into it, Kai, at the same time, had ran over to see what was going on with Behemoth, for he had felt the vibrations throughout the floor of Behemoth dropping to the ground. And as he got over there, Behemoth arose to let them know.
I say, I saw Terrag down this hall.
Do I hear this?
You hear? Yeah.
Yeah, and I say,
You
like,
two
loud.
hear this. Hootie doesn't quite hear this. He's kind of in a weird trance.
Like, I say we go check it out.
Yeah, before I do that, I want to make a perception check on these stones to see what the pressure plates activate. Because low-key want to touch it, but don't want to touch it yet.
Okay. So you're trying to see what they activate?
Yeah.
Okay. Make an investigation check. Or an insight check, actually. Do insight. And as you three kind of start making your way to the entrance of the room, are you walking over these steps or are you walking around?
I'm going around.
Okay. Are you telling them about these traps or are they just going for it?
Yeah, I'm just saying don't step on those stones.
Just step on.
And Behemoth
Don't tell Behemoth
looks at you and
that.
says,
He'll just be like,
"What
"Ah,
stones?" Behemoth, make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, dude. My lucky charm save us.
6.
As you kind of turn back, what stones? You step right on the edge of this one right here. And as you do, you hear Kieran, those stones! And all of a sudden, on this wall right here, 3 stones just lower. In this intricate inlay, they just lower. And you see kind of 3 blowgun holes kind of, emerge. Everyone make a dexterity saving throw. You 3 up. As you kind of look as Behemoth steps on this pressure plate, you kind of, are very aware of what's going on in the room. You hear and see these stones slide, and you kind of roll off over here, over into this area. As doing so, you kind of grab Kai and kind of pull him down. And Behemoth, as you turn, a dart shoots out from the wall and hits you right in the chest, right through like the inlay of your chainmail armor, just right into your chest, and deals 4 damage. As Behemoth takes this surprise attack and begins to try to remove the arrow from his chest, Hootie, back in the ritualistic chamber, decides that this chest is better left till I can get some help opening it and finding out what's inside later. And he decides to rejoin the rest of the party in the main hallway that they're in. And as he goes and enters, he sees Behemoth now injured and is a little distraught and asks what's going on. And once informed, they decide to enter the room that Behemoth had claimed he saw Abaddon/Terrag in. And as they go in there, they do not find any Abaddon nor Malice. However, a few moments pass, and once they've looked kind of throughout this empty chamber, they hear a female chuckle and realize that Abaddon and Malice have been watching them the entire time. And as Kieran's standing there saying, "Come on, dead woman," you feel all your friends just drop to the floor, and you are now very, very focused on. And your friends are not unconscious. It's literally like a force is pushing them down to the ground, and Hootie is like trying to keep himself up, and it feels like something is literally pushing him down to the ground. As this then happens, you all 3 kind of feel this force kind of dissipate, and at the same time, Malice appears in a puff of black smoke right in front of you, Kieran. There is no sign necessarily of Abaddon yet. And with that, we will start with Kieran. You gonna go first? What would you like to do?
I'm just curious. Does it not affect you because you're so short?
Maybe Orc's so lucky because he's a leprechaun.
He rolled high enough. Make an attack roll.
Oh my god, bro. I can do rolls except for attacks. 7? Does it hit?
Oh no.
Yeah,
It does not. As you go to make this attack, you go for the stab. And as you go to stab, you look up and she's no longer in front of you. She's now literally behind you, and you feel her breath over your shoulder.
Sick.
And as the rest of the battle commenced and began, each of them trying what they could against Malice as she kind of revealed her true strength and power against them, and how she had full intent on succeeding in her mission to find the Soul Stone. And as they're battling, right around after everybody's first turns, Terrag actually was able to regain control and hone Abaddon in. And as he did, he went to finally actually help his friends rather than hurt them. And unfortunately, he kind of rolled not so great on hitting or doing much. And then Abaddon was able to retake control against him. And with that being said, I know it's a little bit different, but that is where we're going to end this episode, this chapter of Tales of Dordania, because this battle is pretty beast. And as I'm editing it, I realize that it is pretty long too. But there are some really great moments, and I don't want you guys to miss out on any of them. So be sure to tune in next time for the next chapter of Tales of Dordania, and you will all get to see how the crew fares against Malice as she has revealed herself with Abaddon searching for Dracula's Soul Stone. So thank you all so much for tuning in again, and I'll check you on the next one. God bless.